Look, Arena Breakout can be brutal. You're gonna die. You're gonna lose loot. And yeah, it's gonna be frustrating. I've been there. I played when the game first came out, took a break after Season 2, and came back about a month before Season 7. And let me tell you, it wasn't pretty. I was getting wasted. A lot.
What?
But that's the game, right? It's tough, but that's what keeps us coming back. So I started watching my replays, trying to figure out where I was going wrong. Turns out, I was making some pretty common mistakes. And I bet you might be too. In this video, we're gonna break down those mistakes and how to avoid them. We'll start with a mistake that's easy to fix but can really hurt your chances of survival. One of the most common mistakes I see, especially with newer players, is not dropping weight before a fight. It's understandable. You've got all this loot and you don't want to just throw it away. But trust me, it can really hurt you. So if you think a fight's coming and you have no other choice, drop your bag and your secondary weapon, not your sidearm, if you're carrying one, like you'll see in this clip.
Saan siya?
See? Carrying too much loot slows you down, drains your stamina faster, and makes you jump lower. All of that makes you an easier target. When we talk about greed in this game, there's one thing that comes to mind. Loot. And it's one of the biggest reasons players fail to extract. I get it. Maybe you're low on coins and you want to make the most out of the raid. But risking what you already have for a chance at a bigger reward, that's not always the best move in the long run. It can hurt your in-game economy, and let's be honest, not extracting sucks. Take it from a guy who missed the extract not once, but twice, just because I wanted that extra loot. This next mistake can be a real game changer, and it's all about timing. If you're new to Arena Breakout, you might have heard not to loot your kill immediately. And it's a good advice. You don't want this happening to you. Or this.
What's wrong with this guy? He's lagging.
But this doesn't just apply to bodies from your kills. It also applies to rooms and other points of interest. So, when is it okay to loot right away? This next clip shows how I turned the tables when the odds were totally stacked against me. You can see me in the first few seconds looting this equipment room. I didn't expect anyone to come upstairs since players usually smoke off the hallway and go straight for the lounge. So, I wasn't ready. But like the saying, don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. I had to do something. I waited for the players to pass by and managed to knock one down. I immediately finished him off and closed the door because his teammate was coming. The teammate opened the door, but I closed it just as a grenade slipped through. Luckily, it was just a GHO, and I was far enough away to be safe. But if you noticed, just before the grenade went off, the guy who threw it got killed. I wasn't sure if it was a scav or another player. I quickly went out to check, threw a grenade just in case, and checked the dog tag. Turns out, it was a scav. But I was so paranoid at the time, I thought it was a player. My first move was to grab the file from this guy's body. I knew an MP5 wouldn't cut it now that I'd lost the element of surprise. Remember, it was a scav that killed the last guy, but I still thought it was a player. After dealing with Renor and his squad, I healed up back in the room and heard this. Definitely a player. I quickly pop a painkiller and drop my MP5 and bag to move faster. Then, I opened the door, baited some shots, re-peeked, and got the kill. The lesson here, Take any opportunity you can get and never assume it's safe until you've checked it yourself. It might sound obvious, but a lot of players are too scared to take calculated risks. But that could mean missing out on chances to survive your next encounters. Now, let's talk about a mistake that can be fueled by overconfidence. Ego challenging. This is a big one for me. I tend to pick and shoot at anyone I see, without even thinking about the risk, just because I think I have better aim. Yeah, it works out sometimes, but really, it all comes down to your confidence and skill level. But this is still a bad habit to have. Why? Check out this clip. Earlier in this raid, I heard a bunch of footsteps and gunshots in this area. In the first few seconds of the fight, you can see me slowly trying to figure out if that's a player standing up. I moved to the right a little and took a few shots. I pushed up a bit to get more info on the player I just shot, but quickly changed my mind because some scabs were closing in. There's definitely more enemies. The grenade I threw confirmed he had a teammate, because there's no way he could throw a contact grenade that far while running. After backing up a little, I threw a contact grenade to try and chip away at this guy's armor, but it was a bad throw. I threw another one to make sure I hit him, and then I went for the kill. And what happens next is how I died. Now, here's what we can learn from this clip. First, always try to back up. Find some good cover to reposition and wait for them to push into your sights. Second, I should have just backed up more and used the huge table as a cover, or just gotten out of there completely since I knew his teammate was coming for me. I probably could have won that fight if he didn't have way better gear. He had a full T6 tank set, but backing up and finding a better angle would have been the smartest move in that situation. Always play to your numbers, meaning if you have more people on your team, use that to your advantage. Making smart tactical decisions instead of letting your pride take over will go a long way. Speaking of bad habits, there's one that can instantly end your raid. Another big mistake players make, and I'm guilty of this too, is pushing enemies or taking areas without thinking. Now, you might be thinking, wait, pushing without thinking? Isn't that the same as ego challenging? Let me explain. They might seem similar, but there's a key difference. Mindlessly pushing is like rushing in like a wrecking ball. No plan, just going for it. Mindless pushing could be rushing to clear an area, heading straight to extract without checking your surroundings, or just running towards another point of interest. Ego challenging, on the other hand, is all about seeking out a fight, usually with a strong player, just to prove you can win or to get a cool clip, even if it's a risky move. Staying in one spot gives the enemy an easy advantage, especially if you're outnumbered. It lets them take more space, surround you, and trap you until you're overwhelmed. This clip here shows how I put that into action. In this fight, I was trying to block a squad from entering the bunker through the broken wall. After running back and forth, I got a kill, probably a lucky shot since my gun folded right then. I quickly pushed up to hold my ground. I opened this door to give them something else to think about, then went to bait shots at the gate. I ran around a bit to check the area, then went back to the gate to open it. I stayed still for a second to do a right hand peek while using the slowly opening gate for cover. After getting the second kill, I saw his teammate pre-firing from the left, so I took a chance and got the third. But right after that 1v3, another squad showed up.
Want to know what happened to trespassers?
I made a couple of crucial mistakes there. First, I was too worried about the enemy on top of the boxes who had a good view of my exit. Second, I rushed and took a fight with a left-hand peek, which didn't go in my favor. Remember when I said the odds were stacked against me? That wasn't just about the pressure from Renor. It was mostly because I was trapped in a room. A lot of players think that being in a room is good when you're up against another player or a squad. The doorway seems like a natural choke point, right? But after getting wrecked a few too many times, I realized something. It's not that simple. Think about it. You don't want to be stuck in a room, especially if there's only one way out. You're basically a sitting duck for grenades. Players could rush you all at once, or they could just wait you out until the last few minutes. Anything can happen, and it's usually not good. If you really want to hold a choke point, try to find a spot where you have a quick escape route, just in case things go sideways. This one is pretty obvious. It goes hand in hand with repositioning. Without cover, especially out in the open, you're a sitting duck, just waiting to become a loot box. One well-placed shot is all it takes to send you back to the lobby. Luckily, it's not rocket science. You can use objects around you for cover or use smoke grenades to give you a temporary cover in a pinch. But remember, you can still get shot through them. If you've played any FPS game, you've probably heard this a million times. Check your corners. Instead of thinking of it as a chore, try to make it a habit. When it becomes your second nature, you won't have to constantly stress about remembering specific corners. You'll just naturally do it. This makes your gameplay smoother and can even lead to some sweet plays. And when you get into the habit, you might avoid ending up like this.
Oh.
This next mistake can sneak up on you when you least expect. I've realized lately that I let my guard down sometimes. Usually, it's when I'm looting or just being too relaxed about the situation in general. Today is our lucky day, guys. The hit can be funny sometimes, but it can also be pretty frustrating. I'm not saying you should be super tense. Staring at your screen for 30 minutes straight, that's not realistic. We all have different attention spans. But instead of zoning out and cranking your volume to the max, I'm suggesting that you just try to be more aware of your surroundings. Enemies can pop up anytime, anywhere, and one slip up can cost you and all your gear. One of my bad habits in Arena Breakout is analysis paralysis. Basically, getting so caught up in thinking that I freeze up and don't do anything. Some people might think that analyzing every angle in the game is a good thing, that it helps you find more opportunities. But for me, it's the opposite. In a game where every second counts, if you're stuck thinking about the best move, you can miss out on chances to engage, loot, or escape. Just like what happened here. I got shot right after spawning, heard footsteps behind me, and knew the first squad I ran into was already flanking, with one pushing up. Honestly, it was too much to process. Especially in a tough spot like that, I should have just taken whatever chance I had instead of hiding behind that rock. But like I said before, it's not the end of the world. Watching a few of my replays helped me learn to trust my gut, make decisive moves, and adapt quickly to whatever's happening in the game. Finally, let's talk about a mistake that many players overlook. Utilities are a big deal in raids, but for this section, we're focusing on throwables. When I play with randoms or my squad, I often see people using them without a clear plan. And I get it, maybe you think that it's just for intimidation, to make enemies back off or delay a push. That can work, but you're not getting the most value out of your throwable that way. Different grenades do different things, like smoke for cover or flashbangs to stun. In this clip, I'm using an M67, which is basically for damaging enemies. Think of it as a cheaper but weaker version of the MK2. I'm holding the launch and hear a duo running around inside the armory. Since I just got there from outside, I figured they probably knew I was around. I heard one stop near that hallway a few seconds back, so I used my grenade to damage him or at least chip his armor. As soon as I heard him back off and use a medkit, I pushed up to take some space. But before going all in, I baited some shots to gather info, and since no one was peeking, I went for it and got the double kill. Even though it's just a game, warming up your fingers and hands is important. Cold or stiff muscles can slow down your reaction time and make it harder to aim. Like what happened to this guy.
Hello? Hello? Knife him! Knife him! Knife him! Knife him!
Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. Oh.
Or this clip of me whiffing a whole mag on someone pushing up. Or even lead to some dumb but funny moments like this.
Oh, I'm so bad.
A quick warm-up routine can help you focus and even reduce the risk of injury. It'll make your Arena Breakout experience way more enjoyable.
Stay away from
Let's
this
be
guy.
honest, we've all probably died at least once in this game with a melee weapon out.
What?
Maybe you just spawned in, or maybe you just equip it without thinking, out of habit. But it's a habit that can cost you big time. Thousands, maybe even billions of coins. Just look at what happened to me here.
Oh my god, bro.
As you can see, I probably would have survived if I had my gun out instead of my knife. Honestly, knives are really only good for quickly moving between cover, since you move faster with them out. They also have a specific use in naked run challenges in tactical ops. Now, some players might not think it's a big deal to run with a knife, and that's fine. I even like to hold my knife sometimes, just for style points or to feel like I'm getting my money's worth. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to use a beauty like this? So, there you have it, 14 common mistakes to avoid in Arena Breakout. Did we miss any? Let us know in the comments below.